Chloe sat in her small room, the early morning light spilling in through the window. She liked her space. It was a mix of soft colors and cozy blankets. Her room felt safe. But even in this safe place, Chloe felt something was wrong. She often thought about her friends in school. They shared stories and laughter, but sometimes their talks turned serious. They often spoke about girls not having the same chances as boys. This thought made Chloe frown. Why should anyone be treated differently just because they are a girl or a boy? In these quiet moments, Chloe would look out the window and watch the world go by. She would see kids playing, but not all kids played together. Boys often had their games and girls had theirs. It made her wonder why they could not all play as one group. It felt unfair to her. She thought about how life could be better. If everyone had equal chances, maybe kids would be happier. Chloe remembered seeing a girl in her class, Sam, who wanted to play soccer but was often left out. Sam was good at soccer but felt sad when her friends didn't let her join. Chloe hated to see her friends sad. Feeling worried, Chloe thought about how much she could change things. Every day at school felt like a test. How could she speak up? Would anyone listen if she tried? These thoughts would come to her over and over again. She wanted to help Sam. It was hard to be brave when so many things felt uncertain, but one thing was clear in Chloe's shin. Change had to start somewhere. She had to be that change. At school, Chloe often saw the signs of economic crime, even if they did not call it that. She learned about it in her social studies class. It was the stories of people who lost their homes and families because they trusted the wrong people. These stories hurt her heart. They seemed far away, but she knew they were real. Watching it on a screen felt different than seeing it in her community. Sometimes she and her mom would walk through their town, passing closed shops and empty houses. Chloe would squeeze her mom's hand, hoping to feel safer. After school, she would join her friends on a small online chat group. They would share funny memes and secrets. But sometimes, even in this happy space, they would talk about the news. It was hard to hear about the things happening in the world. One day, someone posted a video about climate change. Chloe felt overwhelmed. The world was changing fast, and she wondered what her future would look like. Depending on those big problems, would she be able to sing and dance like she dreamed? Chloe wanted to take action but didn't know how. She felt stuck in her thoughts. How could she begin to make a difference? How could she inspire her friends? It was easier to ignore the troubles than to face them. But as the weight of these questions sat heavily on her mind, she also felt a small spark of hope. This feeling pushed her forward. Chloe knew she had to find a way to make a brighter world, starting from her corner. The journey would not be easy, but change needed a beginning. And perhaps today was hers. As days passed, Chloe couldn't stop thinking about her friend Sam. She saw Sam sitting alone during lunch one day. The other kids were playing soccer, and Sam was away from the fun. Chloe felt her chest tighten. Why shouldn't her friend join them? The boys were having a great game, laughing and cheering. Chloe decided to find out why Sam was left out. After lunch, Chloe walked up to Sam. "Hey, why don't you join the soccer game?" she asked softly. Sam sighed and looked down. "They say girls can't play soccer like boys. I don't want to make them mad," she replied quietly. Chloe's heart sank. She felt angry and sad. It didn't make sense. Why did some kids think girls weren't good enough? Moments like this showed her how deep the problem was. It was not just about soccer. Chloe began to notice more signs of this unfairness around her. At recess, she watched how the teachers seemed to pay more attention to the boys. They shouted and ran, while the girls chatted quietly. When Chloe spoke up for her friends, she felt like she was swimming against a strong current. Some teachers said, "Boys just like to be active." Others would laugh, brushing off the girls' feelings. It hurt her to see this. The system in her school seemed to follow old rules. It felt stuck like a broken record. Later that week, she overheard a conversation between her brother and his friend. "Why would a girl want to play soccer?" one boy laughed, making fun of the idea. Chloe wanted to shout, "That's not fair." Instead, she stood still, holding her breath. Feeling small and unsure, she let their words slip into her thoughts. Maybe this is how things were meant to be. Maybe she didn't have the power to change anything. But even as doubt crept into her mind, Chloe felt a little fire inside her. She couldn't accept the idea that things could not change. If her brother and his friend thought like this, more kids must feel the same way. She had to show them another way. She started to think about how she could help Sam and others like her. Would a school assembly work? Could she bring people together with stories? There were voices in her head that said, "You're too young, and you can't make a difference." But she also heard the voice of hope. "You have to try," it told her. She thought about the girls she saw being quiet. Would they feel brave if someone stood for them? She remembered how strong she felt when helping a friend, no matter how small that help was. It was like planting a seed waiting for it to grow. Chloe felt a mix of excitement and fear as she walked through school the next day. She saw Sam smiling again. It made her happy. "Let's talk to Mr. Harris, the principal," Chloe suggested. Sam looked nervous. "What if he says no?" she asked. "But what if he says yes?" Chloe replied, her heart racing with a small victory of confidence. Together they could start a small movement. Together they could bring change. The issue felt big, but the first step was to speak up. They needed to be heard, and Chloe was ready to fight for what was right. Chloe and Sam felt excited as they walked toward Mr. Harris's office. It was hard to keep their spirits high. They had talked about how to help other girls and change how things were in school. They imagined a big meeting where students could share their thoughts. But as they got closer to the principal's door, Chloe felt her heart race. What if Mr. Harris did not take them seriously? What if he thought they were just kids with silly ideas? A cold feeling ran down her back, but she shook it off. They knocked on the door and waited. Mr. Harris looked up from his desk and smiled. "Come in," he said, his voice friendly. Chloe and Sam stepped inside, feeling small next to his big desk. They took a deep breath. This was their moment. Chloe started speaking first. "Mr. Harris, we wanted to talk about helping girls play soccer," she said, her voice shaky. Sam stood next to her, nodding. At first, Mr. Harris listened carefully, but soon his face changed. "Chloe, girls can play sports if they want. But it's just how things are," he said, sounding unsure. "Boys play soccer, girls can cheer. This is normal." Chloe felt disappointment hit her like a wave. She had hoped Mr. Harris would support them. Instead, he seemed stuck in old beliefs. They explained how unfair it all felt. They told him about Sam sitting alone during lunch. Chloe spoke about how girls wanted to join the games but were left out. Mr. Harris nodded, but his eyes showed doubt. "Change takes time," he said. "People are used to things the way they are. It's hard to change minds." Chloe felt anger bubbling inside her. "But why should it be hard?" she asked, feeling her heart beating loud. "Everyone deserves a chance, Mr. Harris, don't they?" Silence fell over the room. She could see that Mr. Harris felt proud of her passion but also afraid. He finally said, "I see you care, but not everyone will." Chloe felt crushed. She wanted to scream. The pressure of those words sank deeply into her. What if this was it? What if their dream of change felt too big to reach? The feeling of doubt swept through her like a thick fog. As they left Mr. Harris's office, Sam looked worried. "Maybe we should give up, Chloe. He sounds right. People may not want change." Chloe shook her head, feeling more determined. "No, we can't stop," she said firmly. "If we don't try, nothing will change. We have to start somewhere." Every step they took felt heavier. Other kids passed by without noticing their struggle. Some of them even laughed or mocked. They shouted, "Girls can't play soccer. And why bother?" Chloe recalled her dreams of uniting everyone and making things fair. Those words hurt her heart. That night, Chloe sat in her room feeling alone. She glanced at her soccer ball resting in the corner. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a message from her friend. "Why do you care so much about soccer for girls? Just let it be." At that moment, she realized that some people would fight against change. Fear, anger, and misunderstanding were powerful barriers. But instead of feeling defeated, Chloe felt a burning fire in her heart. The thought of giving up slipped away. She was ready to keep pushing. Change might not come easy, but if they joined forces, they could reach more kids. She would work harder to open eyes and hearts. Chloe knew now that this battle was personal. She fought not just for Sam, but for every girl who wanted to be seen. Days turned into weeks, and Chloe felt the weight of change pressing down on her. She knew this was her moment. She stared at the school notice board, watching the new soccer club sign-up sheet hanging there. Each day she saw fewer girls signing up. Anxiety started to creep in. Would anybody join her? Would anyone care? The fear of failing made her stomach twist. But every time Chloe remembered Sam's sad face, she pushed the fears aside and took a deep breath. It was the day of the first meeting, and the air felt thick with tension. Chloe wanted to gather students who cared about the issue. She left notes in lockers and sent messages through social media. Her heart raced as she waited for others to show up. Many of her friends were caring, but she worried about who might come. Would people see her as a troublemaker? Would they laugh at her ideas? When the bell rang, students began to fill the room. To her surprise, there were a lot more students than she had expected. Excitement fluttered in Chloe's chest. But as soon as the meeting began, the excitement shifted when a group of boys entered the room. They exchanged smirks and sat in the back of the class. They were a well-known group. Chloe knew they usually made fun of kids who stood out. She felt their strong presence and started to sweat. The boys began whispering jokes to each other. "These girls think they can change everything," one said. Chloe's heart sank. She caught their eyes, which sparkled with mockery. Doubt crept into her mind. Were they right? Why was she trying to fight for change? She wanted to scream that this mattered. Gathering her courage, Chloe began to speak. "Thanks for coming, everyone. We want to talk about how to make sports equal for girls and boys." As she spoke, she noticed the boys rolling their eyes and snickering behind her. Their laughter echoed in her ears, attempting to drown her voice. But she pushed on, explaining the plan to create a girls' soccer team at their school. The mood started to shift. Some kids listened, but others remained skeptical. A girl named Clara stood up and asked, "Why should we allow a girls' team? Why can't girls just cheer? The boys are just better." Those words hit Chloe like a punch. Doubts flooded back in. Clara's question resonated in the room. Were the boys truly better? Was she wasting her time? She fought back tears but held firm, knowing Sam was counting on this. Chloe took a deep breath. "We can be good players too," she responded, hoping to keep her voice steady. "Many girls want to play, but they feel scared to try. Together we could not only help each other, but show everyone we are just as strong." Some students started to nod, but the boys erupted in laughter. "What a joke. Girls can't win. They will never beat us." Their taunts cut through her like ice. The laughter felt toxic, growing louder around her. That moment felt like the world spinning too fast. Chloe knew she stood at a turning point. She felt torn between her desire for change and the fear of humiliation. What would happen if she pushed forward? What if nobody supported her? Her palms started to sweat again. She felt the pressure of decisions weighing her down. This was a risk. She could lose her peers' respect if she failed. Still, she knew she couldn't empty her heart. Standing up now felt more important than worrying about their laughter. "Maybe it's not only about winning," she said, her voice shaky but louder now. "It's about playing together, having fun and being equal. We can bring everyone in." Chloe's heart raced with fear and excitement. She felt like she could either bring change or break. Everything felt on the brink, yet she stayed strong, aware that the moment demanded courage. This decision could change everything. As the laughter echoed in her head, Chloe felt she was standing on the edge of a cliff. She could feel her heart pounding loudly in her chest. All eyes were on her, and the weight of their doubt hung heavy in the air. It was like a storm brewing, and she needed to take action before it raged. The doubt and mockery swirled, but she made a choice. She wouldn't let others decide how her story ended. Chloe had to confront the laughter. She had to stand tall. "You don't know how strong girls can be," Chloe shouted, her voice breaking through the noise. For a moment, silence fell in the room. Every face turned towards her, and she felt the energy shift. She had their attention, but would they hear her? Every time someone laughs and says girls can't play, it hurts us and keeps us down. We need a chance to show everyone what we can do. Her breath came fast, building courage with each word. Standing firm, Chloe looked around the room, her eyes meeting Clara's. "You said girls can't win. But what if we had a team? What if we played together? This can be an amazing experience for all of us." The words flowed like water from a spring, and she felt energized by her own hopes, even as the boys rolled their eyes again. But then one of the boys stood up. "What makes you think girls can handle real soccer? You don't even know the rules," he jeered, his tone dripping with mockery. The laughter returned, but Chloe pushed through. "But we can learn. Just like boys do. You learn how to play by trying." The heat of the confrontation felt alive, crashing against her like waves. Chloe could feel uncertainty grab at her, but she took another step forward. Are we going to settle for old labels? Or will we break stereotypes? Girls can kick a ball too. Her heart raced as the words spilled out. Chloe didn't just want to fight for herself. She wanted to inspire others too. She thought of Sam and all her friends who felt alone. Suddenly, something deep inside her sparked. Chloe decided to challenge the system directly. Let's have a soccer game. An open match where everyone can see how we can play. Boys against girls. Her pulse raced and the room grew quiet again. Every student exchanged surprised glances. It was daring, bold, but was it crazy? The boys, sensing the challenge, smiled. Fine, we accept. But you're going to lose badly, they replied, laughter running through their voices like a running stream. Fear flickered in Chloe's mind like a weak flame. What if they were right? What if they did lose? Yet, Chloe felt a new strength emerging. This isn't just about winning or losing. It's about showing that we can play, she said, placing her hands on her hips and standing as tall as she could. The tension snapped in the room. Everyone felt the flames of their own thoughts, the urge to take sides, and suddenly it didn't matter if she felt afraid. Sam, standing by her side, suddenly raised her voice. I'm with you, Chloe. If we lose, at least we tried. A chance is all we need. Hope lit up the space like the sun breaking through clouds. The excitement built. Each student caught in a wave of emotion. They could feel it deep within, a shared mission, an act of bravery, a chance to address the laughter and show their skills. Chloe felt the air thicken with energy, and she quickly realized this was it. The moment had arrived, a turning point everyone could sense. The stakes had grown high, but Chloe stood firm. There was fire in her heart, and now, a spark ignited in her friends and classmates. It was no longer just about soccer. It was about pride, respect, and fighting against old ways. This wasn't merely an attempt to form a girls' soccer team. It was their choice to stand up and say they were strong together. In that moment of urgency and suspense, Chloe made the decision to push forward, feeling ready to face whatever came next. The day of the soccer match arrived, and Chloe felt a buzz of excitement mixed with nerves in her stomach. She arrived at the field early, the sun shining brightly overhead. Friends and students gathered, creating a crowd. They seemed very curious and eager. As Chloe looked around, she felt proud to see so many students ready to support the girls' team. This was their moment. As the boys began to warm up, their energy felt wild and strong. They kicked the balls, showing off their skills. Chloe watched nervously, wondering what would happen. Sam walked up to her and said, "No matter what happens, we will still show them our best." Right. Chloe smiled, feeling her heart lift. Yes, we are here to have fun and play, she replied. She reminded herself that this match was not just about winning. It was about showing they could stand together. When the referee blew the whistle to start the game, the atmosphere changed. The players quickly set in motion, running and dribbling the balls, while the crowd cheered passionately. The girls played hard, moving quickly and kicking the ball with determination. They defended, supported one another, and soon Chloe felt the tension fade. Some friends watching began to shout words of encouragement. Slowly, the fear crept away as they scored their first goal. A wave of joy erupted in the crowd. This victory felt incredible. It was a small moment, but it mattered a lot. They could see their hard work put into action. The boys stared, surprised at how well the girls played. The tides were shifting in their favor. However, the boys were fierce competitors and soon equalized the score. A few of them yelled at each other, insisting that they needed to win against the girls. Chloe couldn't shake the feeling of pressure mounting. Some players began to fall back into old beliefs, questioning how the girls could win. But as the match proceeded, the girls grew more confident in their abilities. Even with small victories, they knew their feelings were changing. After a hard-fought game, the final whistle blew, and the score ended in a tie. Cheers and groans mixed in the air. But for Chloe and her friends, it felt like a win. They had shown their skills and stood up. The boys approached them with looks of surprise, finding it hard to ignore what just happened. One boy, seeing the unity of the girls, said, "You actually did well out there." To Chloe, it felt like a breakthrough. Slowly, the views of her classmates were starting to change. That same day, many students talked about the game in the hallways, discussing how they saw a different side of the girls. Those little moments made Chloe's heart soar. Some girls even came to her and said they wanted to join the team now, excited to practice and learn together. This is just the beginning, Chloe thought, feeling fulfilled. Her victory was not just from the game. It was about creating a safe place for girls to join the sport. They were finally being noticed and their voices mattered. However, not everyone felt this way. Some boys continued to joke about girls playing soccer and tried to downplay the day's events. This was still hard to accept, but Chloe realized it was a process. Change would not happen overnight. During the days after the match, Chloe spoke at a school assembly about equality in sports. She shared how girls deserved equal chances. Student reactions mixed. Some listened and cheered, while others whispered negative comments. But Chloe stood tall, focusing on those who supported her. It felt important to keep pushing forward, to show that every small win mattered. Despite any resistance left, Chloe saw that they started something new. Together, they had turned a corner and laid the first stones for growth. The fight was still ongoing, but she could feel the winds of change growing stronger with each step. Every little victory counted, and in her heart, she felt that they could continue to rise. In the following days, the buzz from the soccer match continued to echo throughout the school. Students chatted about it in the hallways, with many surprised by the girls' strong performance. Chloe felt a wave of pride as she walked to class. The victory brought hope, and she sensed that something important was changing in her school. But Chloe also knew that change didn't happen overnight. At lunch, she sat with Sam and some other friends discussing the game. "I can't believe we tied with the boys," Sam exclaimed with excitement. "It feels like we showed everyone we can play." But even as their spirits soared, Chloe couldn't take away the grumbles she heard from some students. A few boys still made jokes, shouting during lunch about how the girls would be back to the sidelines soon enough. Their laughter cut through the joy, reminding Chloe that resistance still lingered. That afternoon, the school held a meeting, inviting students to share their thoughts on sports and equality. Chloe felt nervous but also excited to speak up again. As students gathered, it was clear that not everybody felt supportive of the girls' soccer team. Some parents and teachers applauded the girls for their efforts, but others still dismissed the importance of girls playing sports. Girls should focus on cheerleading, not soccer, one teacher suggested lightly, and Chloe's chest tightened at the sound of it. But there were positive reactions too. Students began to rally behind Chloe's call for more girls' sports. Some girls who had watched from the sidelines now wanted to join, excited to train alongside their friends. The atmosphere felt hopeful at times, and Chloe realized how much stronger they could become together. However, it was clear that not everyone was ready for change. Students seemed split into groups, those who accepted the new idea and those who resisted. When Chloe returned home that evening, she spoke to her parents about the mixture of reactions. "Some people love our team's idea, but others think it's silly," she said, feeling confused. Her mom nodded, understanding her feelings. "Change takes time, honey. Not everyone will understand. But keep believing in what you're doing." Chloe felt comforted by her mom's words, but she also worried about how long this journey would take. The days turned into weeks, and just as Chloe feared, the downtrodden comments continued. In gym class, one supportive boys whispered jokes about how the girls would never win. They did this even in front of the teachers, who only rolled their eyes, ignoring the words. Chloe began to see that while some were happy to support them, there would always be naysayers. It hurt her heart to hear those words, but she remembered how far they had come. Chloe started organizing practices more regularly. More girls showed their interest, slowly making the team larger. Each practice brought joy, even as some boys continued to resist. They labeled the girls' efforts as just a phase and claimed they were wasting their time. Chloe felt dull in her chest, but she reminded herself to focus on the ones who cared and believed in change. Slowly, they planned a friendly tournament against another school. Excitement buzzed within the team, and Chloe tried to stay confident despite the uncertainties. She knew they had to build their skills and resolve together, even as others doubted them. This journey was not only about soccer. It was about showing they could stand tall as girls, a group of players who were ready to face any challenge. Some victories were big. Others felt small, but each mattered. Chloe knew change was hard. It required patience and strength. The girls were finally proving that they could no longer be overlooked. They were kicking down walls one play at a time, and for Chloe that felt like a win itself. As the season of practices and games came to an end, Chloe found a quiet moment to reflect on her journey. Sitting under the big tree in the park, She watched her friends play football nearby. A warm breeze touched her face and she took a deep breath. So much had happened since that first meeting in Mr. Harris's office. Chloe felt proud and grateful for the path they had traveled. There were many ups and downs, but each moment brought her lessons about herself and her friends. The soccer match against the other school was one of her happiest moments. The girls played hard and showed everyone their skills. Even when they faced a tough defeat, they held their heads high. They had formed their team, shared their dreams, and fought for their right to play. Chloe realized winning was not the only goal. The true reward was seeing her friends smiling and confident on the field. They had supported each other through challenges, which built their friendships deeper. However, Chloe also recognized the harsh reality that awaited them. Despite their growth and courage, some students continued to doubt girls in sports. The whispers and laughs did not vanish completely. A few boys still mocked their efforts in soccer, claiming that girls didn't belong in the game. It made her heart ache sometimes. She wanted everyone to see that girls could be just as strong and skilled, but she understood change takes time. Chloe reflected on the moments of triumph but also the defeat. She learned that it was okay to feel disheartened. It was part of the journey. She found strength in talking about feelings with her friends. As each of them shared their hopes, worries, and dreams, they became stronger together. They understood the importance of listening and supporting each other. Creating the soccer team was just the first step. Chloe wondered about how far they could go in the future. Would there be more fights for girls in sports outside of their school? They had begun a movement, a small one that could grow. Chloe thought about inviting students from other schools to share their stories. What if they could gather stories from girls in different matches? This idea gave her hope and excited her heart, lighting a fire within. Even as she imagined the future, Chloe understood there would always be challenges. Some days would feel heavy, and there would still be students who believed that girls could not play. But she felt determined to confront any fading voices. Now, whenever she heard these negative words, she could stand her ground. She remembered her fear from the start, standing up against the doubts. Each time she spoke, it helped her heart grow braver. Chloe knew that fighting for the change she wanted was far from over. It would require dedication and passion, but no matter how tough it seemed, she felt ready to embrace the challenges. As she looked around at her teammates laughing and playing together, her heart swelled with pride. Their bond was unbreakable, forged through their tough times and shared moments on the field. Chloe understood that change might take time, but she had faith in the future. Together with her friends, they would pave the way. Today they played soccer, tomorrow they could change the world. With that thought, a smile spread across her face. They were just getting started, and Chloe was excited about what lay ahead. As the season drew to a close, Chloe felt a mix of emotions. She had come so far, and the girls' soccer team had become a real success. Practices had grown in number, and more girls joined to play and share their joy. The team was no longer just a group of players. They had become a family. Their laughter, cheering, and stories filled the field with life. They had formed bonds through hard work, overcoming fears, and pushing through doubts. Chloe's own fear began to fade as she found her place in the world of soccer. She had learned to lead and inspire others. Whenever her friends faced challenges, Chloe was always there, offering a smile or words of hope. Each practice was a step toward growth, not just in soccer, but in their hearts as well. With perseverance, they had grown strong and confident, proving wrong those who doubted their abilities. The school organized a final event to celebrate the end of the season. Students gathered cheerfully to honor the teams, recognizing their efforts. Chloe stood on the field with her teammates, feeling thrilled by the applause and cheers. In that moment, she realized how much they had changed the views around them. Families of the players now showed up to cheer, and more students watched, eager to see what the excitement was about. But as much as Chloe celebrated this victory, she knew there was still much to do. Even with the sweet taste of success, there remained those who mocked or dismissed their efforts. The boys who had initially taken jabs at them were still around, whispering and joking, trying to belittle the girls' success. Some habits were hard to shake. Chloe understood that change was not just about the matches won. It was a longer journey filled with challenge and commitment. After she spoke at the event, the teachers leaned in closer to support the movement effectively. Encouraged by the girls' efforts, more girls stepped forward to showcase their skills. Chloe watched as students shared how seeing stronger female players inspired them as well. They had formed a community, and this feeling lit up her heart. It felt wonderful to witness the difference that can come from uniting around a common goal, to play and be seen equally. At that moment, Chloe thought about her mission and the path ahead. In her heart, she realized that this experience was only the beginning. The girls needed to keep pushing for opportunities, to be agents for change in their community and beyond. She wanted other girls everywhere to know they could follow their dreams, whether on the soccer field or in life. As the event wrapped up, she gathered her friends together. "Let's keep this going," she said. "We want to share our stories and help more girls play." "Sound good?" Her friends nodded, excitement filling the air. Just then Chloe felt resolved. She understood that every little win and every new teammate was a step in breaking down barriers. Together, they had made something special and inspirational. In that moment, every challenge turned into a chance to learn. Every doubt gave way to strength. Chloe wondered, where would their journey take them next? Would they be brave enough to take the next step to lead change in their community? The possibilities felt endless. As the sun set over the field, Chloe looked at her friends and the excitement around them. There was power in unity. "Together, let's keep fighting for our dreams," she whispered, her heart swelling with hope. This moment wasn't just hers. It was for every girl aspiring to be seen and heard equally. Would they dare to dream, to push forward, and create a world where girls could shine? The answer rested in their hands, and Chloe knew they were just getting started.